are. Here's Figuring Shit Out, episode 40, episode 40.
Big 40.
40. Yes, I am 2 years away from that number. We gotta do something crazy.
Hey, bro, it's been a year. We did 40 episodes in a year, bro. That's crazy.
Not even 10 months.
Not even a year, right?
Like, yeah, 10, 11 months. So, yes, you already know what it is. Bunny Flacs. Check out the sites, bunnyflacs.com, lucidperspective.com. We got King Author in the building.
Yeah, y'all know what time it is, man. Unify and Thrive. Check out the websites. We getting busy today. Frank, bring us in, Brody.
We have our guest for episode 40. We have Miss Marquita Bianca, 757, New York, Miami icon legend here with us. She's blessed us with her presence. Director of Baila Fuzion and Studio F showroom. She's here. She's agreed to meet with us. We're going to talk business. We're going to talk dreams. We're going to talk grinding. How are you doing today? Thank you for blessing us. What's going on?
I'm good, friend. Thank you for having me. I feel honored. I'm honored to join you guys to talk about all the things.
Yes, thank you so much. So our first question we generally start with is, what was your figuring shit out moment? Any moment in your life, you had a eureka moment, you made a decision that changed your life forever. Do you have one you can share with us?
Oh man, I do. And it gets me really hyped to tell the story because as a creative, you know, we're always trying to figure everything out. And figuring it out means different things to different people. So for me, I wanted to take the new love that I had of dance, and I wanted to figure out how I could make it my shtick, my dig, my thing that I did that paid for everything, that allowed me to live the life of my dreams. And I was studying veterinary medicine. I don't know if you ever knew that about me.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Yeah, I was studying veterinary medicine, coming out of high school, going into college. I was going to transfer to the University of Tampa. They have a wonderful program over there. And a girlfriend at the age of 21 asked me, would I like to go take a salsa lesson? And I was bougie and attitude-y and all the things. And I was like, I'm a serious medical student. I can't
you got time for these little games.
Yeah, like I can't mess with you people who aren't gonna have doctor in front of your name. Who are we talking about here? So I went and I fell in love to the point where I was dancing every day since then. And one night while I was in DC, who I didn't know would become my director, he asked me to dance, and I was like, okay. Nice looking guy. He's asked me to dance. Probably wants my number. It's fine. We'll talk about it later. We danced. He said, he was like, hey, how long you been dancing? And I was like, oh, a couple months. He was like, you should really, like, we're having auditions for our company, and you should try out. And I was like, okay, now you really just want my number. You're trying to just get me back up to DC. And and we joke about this, but I came home, went back to the hospital, life was normal. And something was like, if the worst thing that you can hear is no, right? The worst thing that can happen is you just don't make it. I went, made it, traveled, taught, lots of Red Bull for probably like the next 2 years. I was still working at the hospital. So that moment happened for me when I realized I was tired of traveling up to DC because I had rehearsal every Tuesday and Thursday. I had a 3-hour rehearsal. I got off from the hospital at 5 o'clock. So I was battling traffic only to get to DC to rehearse. I drove back the same night to be at the hospital by 8 a.m.
Yeah, you must have really liked it.
It chose me. It chose me. I can't even, I still remember how the feeling feels. And so I came back home and I was like, okay, I really got to figure this out because this driving thing isn't going to happen. I can't live off of Red Bull. I know eventually I love animals, but do I really does Dr. Marquita Bianca, does that still have to happen? I can still love animals and I can love an 8 count.
Started processing new things, right? Yeah, you got some new ideas brewing.
It was brewing. So I had a side gig at that point that we won't name because that company went under, but it was a restaurant, And while I was working for that, because, of course, bartending, working for restaurants, like that was the way to make the cash back in,
Right.
So working for the restaurant, and they were like, you have a great personality. You could be part of the marketing team.
Facts.
And I was like, okay, great. So they stuck me at the Sandler Center for Why Not Wednesday. That's still running to this day.
Oh,
and
wow. Okay.
So
That's
here
right.
I am like, hi, I teach salsa lessons. You should really hire me. I can really show you how to, and I'm a fun teacher, right? So I'm just telling everybody they should give me a job. They had their volunteer meeting one night, which was like 400 people. And she was like, well, Kita, you've been asking for a job. Do you want to come in, and do this for the volunteer committee? Well, the restaurant that I worked for was doing the food. They never sent the food. The food never showed up. 400 hangry people. And she was like, hey, go do a salsa lesson with these people. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun, they said. Do a salsa lesson, they said.
Where's
Don't
the
send the
salsa
food, they said. Right, yeah, exactly. And the chip. So I did it. They loved it. And she was like, you know what? I will hire you for everything that I have going on. And from there, I had a job for 10 years teaching their senior program. And so from there, I started Baila Fuzion and slowly was just like, all right, tell people you can do it, prove that you can do it, and repeat the process. And that was me figuring it out.
That's crazy. That's a hell of a story.
That's dope. Yeah.
So then the veterinarian dream, like, I'm sure you still love animals, but all those aspirations of operating and doing all that stuff, that's like not a passion, not even something you'll even look at or reconsider. It's done.
I do it. So my girlfriends call me when their dogs are like, when they don't want to take them to the vet. So they're like, okay, so my dog has this cough. My dog was stung by a wasp on its butt. Like, can you help me? Like, what should I do for this? They have this cough. Yeah. So I am, you're like
the unofficial.
Not knowing how it's called. Yeah, I'm the unofficial.
I'm glad you told me that, because I'm gonna be hitting you up when my dog has
this guy.
One time, this was like months ago, out of the blue, everything was fine. He woke up in the morning, everything's fine, nothing, no issues. And then I look at him, and his eye is red and swollen, and it's like almost protruding out of his eye socket, and I'm just like, what the fuck is this? Panicking and all that. I looked up some things, found out it just went away, and it just as it appeared, it went away within like 6-7 hours. Random as fuck.
That's funny.
Yeah, but I definitely would hit you up for that. But
animals are always getting into things, but I think one of the things that we forget is that before there was medicine, just like your body is meant to keep you alive. So when something's going wrong, your body is going to automatically start adjusting to, because again, it's got that one job, even though the one job requires it do a million things. It's here to keep you on earth. So we forget, and we kind of have the anxiety of, we got to go to the doctor. We have to take pills. We got to do this.
Right.
So sometimes you let it lie and it'll correct itself.
That's true. Our bodies are smart, intelligent, and not a lot of credit is given to nature, right? Nature has solutions for almost every problem. So
1000%.
I don't want to get started there, because nature's only job is to reproduce, and it reproduces the best of itself, right? So that's a whole nother story, a whole nother podcast, right?
But, true.
Like, so when you got the job at the volunteering place, right? Doing the dances, like, did you know that you was going to be doing that for 10 years? And did you know you wanted to make your own company when you first started that?
So I knew then, I didn't know how long that contract was going to last, right? And the reality of it is that the only reason why it stopped was because COVID. Or we would still have that program. So that program ended up just being one of many departments that we had within my company. My next part of figuring this out was, okay, so you were chosen for the thing that you were meant to do at the age of 21. Now I spend my life teaching kids and adults and people how to enjoy this thing called the arts. Right. And in that, I need to make the opportunities for people who are like myself that maybe didn't have that opportunity in the beginning. If I was 8 and you had told me that I might have been a little bit good at dance, man, let me tell you, we probably wouldn't even be talking right now. I would be dancing in the Walmart to get the job. I would be in LA.
Right.
I would have been, you know what I mean? It would have been maybe a different life.
Right.
But I am thankful that I was 21 because I paid for it. I chose it. I took accountability for it. My failures were my failures. There was no one there to necessarily, like, I remember my mom being on the phone with me at like 2 a.m. just to make sure I got home okay from DC.
Right.
You know, so it was a different kind of support at that point. So for me, it didn't matter how long the contract lasts, as long as I had the opportunity and then could duplicate that opportunity to make it what it is now.
And then the other thing is too, like we mentioned, like you were going out of your way, driving up to DC, off of work, coming back the next day. Like it was that special to you. It was that important, you know, that you were willing to sacrifice the mileage, the gas, the time, and you manifested. Right. All of that.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. And it also, you know, it's important to note that this was a passion that you found, that you did find a way to monetize and make a living off of, which is a dream most people on this planet, unfortunately, don't have ways to manifest, right?
Some don't even have the thought of being a business owner, doing something I like to do. What I would like to do, you know? So yeah, that's a whole nother story too.
That's true. Like, ask yourself, what do I like to do? Okay, I like to do X, Y, and Z. How do you monetize that? Then you have, you know, most people have a real issue with that.
Here you go, Frank. How often do you ask people what do they want and they telling you what they don't want off bat? Try it. Ask somebody what they want, and 9 times out of 10 they're gonna tell you what they don't want.
That's true. That is true. So Baila Fuzion, how long have you been doing that? Can you give us a little background on like the initiation, how you started it, who was involved, like the first time you opened, the feelings and all that stuff?
Yeah. So this year's 10 years. We opened in 2013. And it's so nostalgic to say that because so much has happened. It's like living 8 lives. You know, I don't want to say 9 because 9 is indicative of, you know, like it being the last life.
Right.
But so from that program starting, I worked in a bunch of smaller studios. And when I tell you, if you believe that good things are going to happen to you, if you believe that everything works out for the good of you and what you desire, then it will. I couldn't imagine in life, there's no like unhappy days. Like there's adulting stuff, but there's no unhappy days. So I was always the girl who was just going into the studio excited, but I didn't have my own studio at that point. So I worked at a couple of different studios, but when I tell you God is so good, like he would just line me up with the very people that I needed to work with. So I worked at a local studio here that's still open. It's not owned by its same owner, but the original owner, her name is Betty Lou. She is my girl to this day. I call her Betty Lou Who. She allowed me to work at the studio. I didn't have a contract. And when I tell you, she allowed me to do really whatever I wanted to do. I was like, Betty, I want to teach a workshop, or I want to do this, or can we do a night party? And she's like, sure, just make sure you clean up, you know. It was so awesome. And so one day I found a space, and this was maybe like 2 years after being at her studio. And I found a space that I felt like, well, let's talk about find. I got a text message. So
wow. Okay, here it is.
Someone sent me a text message. This is going to go through this entire story, but I don't know if there is a way that you guys feel that the Lord communicates with you, or, you know, like that the universe sends you
synchronicities and things. Yeah.
Yes. And so mine is through technology, which is super, super weird. So I, you know, but again, he knows I'm going to pay attention to it, right? He knows you see me on social, you know, I'm super active. So he knows that gets my attention. So one day I received a text message, random, had nothing attached to it. Hey, there's a space on Hampton Road. I think it would be really cool that you could do some really cool things with it. Right. That was the space that we were in behind the juice bar.
Right. I was about to mention that. Yep.
Yes. 600 square feet. 600 square feet. I didn't pay attention to it. I was like, oh, that's fine. But I was traveling and I was a one-person show. And so I knew I was tired of doing all that. And I said, okay, well, if I'm going to be in one spot, I want it to be one spot where everything can come to me. That's always what I've said. I need everything that we're doing to be able to be housed in one place.
Right.
Well, you can't really do that in 600 square feet, but it was just me. So I was like, let's do this. So 2 months later, I went in, saw the space, felt the vibe, and I just knew it was for us. We were there for 6 years.
Right.
Jody was it's still the owner of the juice bar. He has Juice Bar Juices, Juice Bar 80/20, Joppo.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to him. Again, let us do whatever we needed to do and build. So we had all these departments running out of the 600 square foot space, like to the point where busting out the seams, not more than one teacher could be there at a time.
I remember that.
Parents dropping off. My kids were, had one class at 6, but the next class didn't start till 7:30. So they had to go out in the waiting room. They went to Subway. It was just a crazy operation. Yes. So 6 years later, I get a text message. Hey, there's this space that I think that you guys could really do some really cool things with. And I was like, let me look at the date on this, because this seems like the same message
okay.
that I got before. Like,
right.
You playing with me? And it was a client that took one private lesson with me.
Wow.
And the building that we're in now, she's the one who sent the text message. I met her here. There was a company here, and they weren't doing so well. Their lease ended in November. We moved in August, helped them to get out of their lease, and we've been here for 6 years.
That's crazy. Wow. That's crazy.
Things coincide, no coincidences.
Right.
No.
And did you know who the first text message from the first place was? That random, or did you know who that was?
It was random in the sense that at that point in time, I didn't know the person.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
And when you've been in Hampton Roads for so long, we feel like we know everybody. So this was something where the person had heard of me and got my information from somebody and then sent the text message.
That's crazy. I remember that spot because we used to go to the Planet Fitness right there.
Yes.
And then after that, we'd go to the juice bar, get the wheatgrass, get some drinks and stuff. And I used to see it in there bumping. Like, yeah, it was
so
full of people.
convenient.
Right.
So convenient. I walked to the gym. We had a China buffet. There was a Dollar Tree. I mean, it was, that's we stayed a long time trying to make everything work, but we grew out of it.
That's dope. That's dope. And
that's a good growth right there. Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
And so for the people that don't know, right, where are you now? What's the space? What's the address? We're gonna promote all this stuff that you're talking about. So people, if they need to find you, they look for you, they can get to you.
Thank you. Sure. So now we are at 2548 Virginia Beach Boulevard. So we're about 6 miles away from where we used to be. We were 600 square feet. Now we're 3,000, which leads to all the different departments. So we have, we can all work at the same time.
Right. You're not sitting breathing over each other's necks and things. Right.
We can all get in here at the same time. I don't have a Planet Fitness right next to me. We are a standalone 2-story building, but I'm proud of that. But so it's cool. And we're centrally located. We're like right off of the interstate, so it's really nice. And my kids have a lot of space to be able to still do the things that they were doing before. They can come in, they can study in between class. Then we have multiple classrooms for everything that we department wise have, because, we teach dance, but then we also teach media and film. We teach fashion, styling, modeling. We have a full service salon on site. Studio F is on site, our fashion closet that benefits domestic violence survivors. And
while you're there, break that down. So I was going to ask you about the business model, right? Like I always ask people, how are you making money, right? Like you got this location, you got this space, and you got this thing that you do, but everybody knows the one thing that you do isn't the only thing that you do, right? Most people have integrated vertically several different models. So like, how do you guys make money?
So as you can think of Baila Fuzion as the hub, right? And under that hub, we have multiple departments. So think of everything that I just listed as a department. Our fashion is a department, dance is a department, Studio F is its own entity by itself, the salon is its own entity. So from there, we're a preparatory school. Being that we're a preparatory school, we start at age 8. We teach those awesome kids that are TikTokers and everything how to figure out what that looks like for when they get older, i.e. me, the girl who was 21 and had to figure it out. We're having that conversation with them a lot earlier. At that point, those linear departments that I was talking about all have an outreach system that we work off of. So like, let's take our dance, right? Our directors can take on both projects, not only with their kids, but also projects that come from outside sources. So we get booked for choreographies, we get booked for quinceañeras, we get booked for, hosting, all of those things. So that one department in that small entity runs almost like a business by itself, servicing the kids with education, but also servicing the community with the contracts.
That's dope. That's super dope.
Okay.
Are you new in town or need a fresh cut on the fly? Let me show you a convenient way to hire a mobile hair care pro now. Simply download the Cuddy app from the App Store. Create a profile and have access to professional mobile barbers and stylists in your area. The Cuddy app allows you to browse for hair care professionals 24/7. View their profile and share your location to find the nearest one. Once you've found the perfect pro with just a click of a button, have a professional meet you in a matter of minutes. This means no more worrying about running late, waiting for the next chair to open, or missing your appointment completely. Reclaim your valuable time and put your mind at ease knowing your hair care pro is on the way. Cuddy app is the only place to hire a hair care pro whenever you are ready, wherever you are. Cuddy app. Join the revolution today.
That is crazy. I'm definitely gonna be looking up these salsa classes though.
So,
I gotta brush up.
You're supposed to have come to me for salsa a very long time ago.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Get them.
I know you got somebody that can teach you.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Cool.
I still teach.
Okay.
I still perform. It's still a department that's running. So the third layer of that is that all of our departments on an annual basis work together. So, normally when you enrolled a child in a program, they have like an end of the year recital, right? So for us, we don't call them recitals, we call them showcases. So every department that I listed, those departments collaborate in order to produce an end of the year show. So my acting theater students are going to act in the show. My fashion students, i.e. modeling, of course, they're modeling in the show. My youth sewing and design students, they're making costumes for the show. My dance students are being fitted and costumed by my fashion students. So everybody works together. It's an ecosystem, and it provides them hands-on experience. They get to know what it feels like to work in a collective, to respect each other's ideas. And then also they have that final product. So when one of my kids from my fashion department says, well, Miss Marquita, I need a reference to be able to go and get a summer job at the mall. You're going to take my reference over the lady who might be twice as old as them, because not only does my kid have experience, but you can tell exactly where they came from to do all of those things.
That's dope. That's
fire.
That's crazy.
And with all those, all those companies under the umbrella, right? I think I was telling Frank this, instead of us spearheading each one of different things, right? We get somebody to take over that one part, right? And then you just meet with that person. So is that something that you do, or do you are ahead of each one of those different things?
So we run like a real steady ship at this point. So I write our programming, our overarching programming, and we have our schedule. So like, for instance, we start September when the kids go back to school. We end in June when the kids graduate, from and go to their next grade. So each year we have a schedule of, this is what happens in September, this is what happens in October, November. And essentially we just have to switch out the themes for the next year of what we're going to be producing for that. And then the directors and the teachers, once I give them that part, then they will go and creatively work their syllabus.
Right,
And
right.
so I will meet with them about the syllabus to make sure it gels with all the other departments. But we all very much so have a say in the creative process for the company.
So I got a question because I'm on your socials, right? And I see
Yeah.
you are traveling. You are
Mhm.
at any given time, you could be in LA, you will be in New York, you be in Miami.
Yeah.
For the people that don't know, what are you doing out there?
Right?
Why
Girl,
is
what are you
Marquita all across the country
all over the
doing things?
place? Because I
Right.
mean, what's that got to do with Virginia Beach Boulevard?
Right.
So the
Facts.
reason why we have a fashion department is because I'm a fashion editor and I cover Fashion Week all over the world. So
Nice.
that's really what takes me out in the bulk of traveling. I still do travel for clients. I do travel to perform. I do travel to teach. I
Dope.
try to line those trips up at the same
Mhm.
time. So, or I would never be home. But I can take all of that information that comes from New York Fashion Week, LA, Miami, and beyond, and then bring that back, and it gives our kids something here. The whole point is for the creatives here to stop having to leave with lint in their pocket. Like I'm over it.
Mm.
I want
Let's go. Let's talk about it.
and I don't want our kids saying I'm a good dancer for Virginia. No, you're a good artist
Right.
because you are an amazing artist. No matter where
Facts.
you go, you should be able to have a conversation with someone who works in New York, and you should be able to say and sound and be intelligent and compassionate and graceful the same way that they are. And so we
Agreed.
have to produce that in our area, and in order to do that, we have to travel. We have to travel. We have to know what's going on in these other major markets so that we can bring it back, and not to reproduce it, but to make sure that we're aware.
Right. And I gotta add, there's been this I don't want to say dark cloud over this area, over Hampton Roads, where we know, right? Because we live here, there's so much talent here, right? But there seems to be this continuing ongoing struggle on trying to get the rest of the world to see that as well.
Right.
So I think that's dope that you're able to do that. You're educating and you're molding and you're teaching so that when they do branch out to those different areas, it's not necessarily that they have to leave to be successful, but when they do travel, they can represent Hampton Roads, Virginia in the way they're supposed to, right? In a way that's beneficial for the area. But I think there is I sense there is a newfound what's the word I'm looking for? Awareness, like you said. Awareness that's coming. It's like, again, with something in the water, I think that we're around the corner from something huge, you know what I'm saying, for this area. But I felt like it's always been there. You could taste it, but then nothing manifests. So you wait some more. But
we know we legit. Like, that be the problem. Like, everything that comes out of here ain't nothing but fire. And then it is usually the top tier, right? Cream of the crop, right? And so I don't think the air isn't really that it isn't here. It's just, I don't know. It's so good. It gets watered down, I guess, because it's like, you guys are supposed to be great when you come out of there, right?
Yeah, and I think that if there's enough of us that are not only representing, like, we've got to be a product of our environment, right? But we also have to be representative of our environment. So if I'm telling you that I have a business, I love my business, but I equally love my home and I'm passionate about that, I have to show you what that looks like. So that looks like me running a business, being at home, loving my home, but also being able to travel and do all those things and then bring those things back. I think we see a lot of artists where we have a business, but we move and we take everything with us. And so bringing all of those things back, that's a piece that doesn't happen. So for me, that's really important. I have always loved our area. This is my home. I'm a huge proponent of my home. And I try to display that. And so I think that if we just had a lot of us in solidarity doing that, then maybe the energy focused around really what VA is would be a little bit different.
Right. What do you think is a catalyst, or what do you think, if you had to put a name to it or identify it, what do you think is the piece that's missing to bring that unity?
I think, and I'm actually writing an article right now about this, but I think lateral collaboration or linear collaboration is really underrated. And when I say linear collaboration, if we're talking about in terms of number, let's say influencers, right? If I have 5,000 followers and you have 5,000 followers, sometimes those two people don't find it important to collaborate with each other. But the reality is that you need to be collaborating with each other. That's when the momentum, motivation, all those things happen. What we're usually trying to do is we're trying to, as a 5,000, follower person, I'm trying to find and collaborate with the 50,000 follower. Yes, I'm trying to collaborate up. And at that point in time, the space between us is what's sometimes causing the challenge and the problems. I'm not looking linear to where this collaboration could be super easy. This one I'm begging for. We have to stop doing this, right?
Okay.
Because it doesn't mean that I'm not valuable because I don't have 50K. It just means that we're in a different space. So I think that for our area, we could have a lot of linear collaborations happening in doing it strategic, not just like meeting up on a Saturday night to like trying to make something. No, let's have a plan. Let's sit down and talk about how this 5 minutes can turn into 15. And then with that 15, how does that affect our environment? Who should we be pulling in, after that? And then it kind of spider webs out.
That's crazy. I never heard it put that way. The way you just described linear collaboration versus lateral, like I've never seen it visualized that way. And that makes so much sense. You know what I'm saying?
And I say it every show, man, unify and thrive. That's the name of the game. That's something that I'm really big on. Like they say our community doesn't stick together, but I don't think that's true. I think when people are out there looking for people to work with and to unify with, they find them. That's what happened to me when I started looking for people to unify with. It was a whole lot of people I could work with, I could grow with, I can build with. And what you were speaking about is a lot of growth. So how do you plan on growing your business, right? I know you got a lot of things going, you're over there traveling, you're implementing things in the business, right? So how do you plan on actually growing? Because it seems like you're busting out the seams again.
So the big C word, COVID, kind of changed a lot, right? And so it forced a lot of us creatively to figure out what this next life of business and living and
remote
also,
stuff.
what that looks like. And so for us at Baila Fuzion, we said, okay, at this point in time, it's not about everyone being great within our home. At this point now, we need to reach out to our community. We need to reach out where there's space. And really the space more so was caused by them saying we couldn't be in tight quarters, right? So what space meant to us was, well, that means we need to take over neighborhoods and we need to, partner up with people. And again, that linear collaboration that we talked about. So now we went from maybe having our list of programming that happens on our campus to now having community programs that happen all over the city with community partners. And you'll see that through our Studio F programs, but also our dance programs. We partner up with the Urban Renewal Center for their IAP program. And we have satellite campuses in both Norfolk for underserved children and Virginia Beach. We have another community partner, Aid Another, which is a company that solely exists to make sure that people with all abilities know that they have opportunities. So they have a basketball team, they have a baseball team. We serve them on our campus with dance. So now it's about saying, okay, how can we help? How can we help you bridge the gap? How can we facilitate something for you? I don't want to be the ones to have all the ideas anymore. At this point in time now, we want to go where we see the need.
That is super dope. You're definitely making a change out here. I'll be honest, I didn't know you was doing all that stuff. So I'm glad we had to talk. So
I know, good talk.
Right.
We are literally, so we're a preparatory school, but how I like to think of it is that we're like a college for non-college age students. So like, again, since you're 8, we're asking you those hard questions of what do you want to be? What do you want to do? That's usually what we get asked, through high school. So our campus runs kind of the same way that a TCC would. Everything is by like credit system. You can take however many credits that you want to. So our mid-semester classes would start March 13th. And so we have media and film starting, fashion styling 101, modeling 101, Oh gosh, bunch of different things. So bailafuzion.com has all of those, and people can actually register for those now.
Are you looking for a media agency that covers all the creative tasks that make a business successful? Lucid Perspective produces elegant, high-resolution graphics and logos, high-definition and 4K video, complete with treatment concepts and innovative editing. Lucid Perspective provides photography services such as fashion, advertisements, product or service, and aerial photography. We also help businesses build their brands from the ground up with complete campaigns that will make your business attractive to your target audience. We can bring your brand to the masses with our effective and strategic marketing campaigns to include sales funnels, eye-catching advertisements, breakthrough digital marketing through social media, and other digital avenues. Visit lucidperspective.com today. Collaborations, right? I went to your site. I seen you got some partnerships. What was it? You got like a partnership page and a collaboration page. What are some things as far as you're looking for anybody out there who sees what you're doing, wants to be a part of it, wants to offer their services, offer their skill set, offer their talent? What are you looking for, and how can they get in contact with you?
Or a partner that you're looking to connect with, or somebody you're looking to collab with?
Yeah. So the first thing for me is that you need to be a good human.
Okay.
Check. Okay, define
Right.
good human.
Yeah, I really and I say that in the most sincere way, but I'm not interested to partner. There's a lot of things that I turn down, especially on like the influencer side and and products and things of that nature. If I'm going to stand behind it, then I really want that to mean something, and I want people to be able to trust my word. So that's first and foremost. I also love to know what community aspect that the individual wants. Like, how do you want to impact the community? How does your product impact the community? How does it solve a problem?
Right.
What's the benefit, so that way we can maybe help make it successful, because that's that's the 101 of business, right? It's got to
Right.
solve a problem, and it has to benefit. And I mean, we're always looking to collaborate with people. I always, whether I'm out or if I'm here, if you message me, I'm answering. I don't have somebody that runs my stuff. I am answering my own DMs. I am following people, seeking out. So I've likely done a lot of reaching out to say, how can we help you in this? And it doesn't always have to be something that's a long-term collaboration. It can be just a project. We work on a lot of things, and considering we have so much space on campus, I'm really apt to say, well, I've got space, just, you know what I mean? Like, come do it here, or if you need something, and that makes it easy. So in that, I guess the last part is just being able to pay it forward. We want to work with people who are in the mindset of leaving things better than when they came.
Is there any programs you want to shed a light on? Any of your programs that you feel are doing magnificent, something you want to promote, something you want to shed light on?
So this year, our newest department that we created was the Studio F, Crown Adjustment Agency. And so a crown adjustment agency for us means a group of collective that is going to solely work in the purpose of the benefit in empowering women. And not only women, but survivors in general. So we're talking about domestic violence survivors, trauma survivors, trafficking survivors. And so that agency by itself facilitates the full service fashion closet. And a lot of times when we say fashion closet, people think about Dress for Success, which is a fantastic program. And again, we are an ally. So, if anybody ever needs anything, we're all about it. But our program is a little bit different. So for someone who's transitioning out of a trauma scenario, we get the phone call. And at that point in time, like, let's say that person literally had to leave a situation where they just have a trash bag. They have no belongings at this point. And if it's Friday, we know by Monday, this person has to be back acting like life is somewhat normal. We have jobs, we have, obligations. So our fashion closet will at that point take measurements and replace that person's closet. Accessories, shoes, clothes. We want to help transition women that hopefully once they get up on Monday morning, there's a lot that you already have to deal with. We want to make one less thing. And so that is the whole purpose of having that fashion closet. Our fashion students oversee that. So remember how we talked about the ecosystem kind of working collectively? And so that's our newest piece. So it's allowed us to collaborate with some of the most amazing organizations and women. So right now we're working on a campaign to write 1,000 love letters for Valentine's Day for survivors. That's going to be delivered to them by Valentine's Day. But when I tell you, churches, organizations, they're coming out saying, hey, we want to help, we want to partner, and that's been fantastic. So
that is amazing.
Sounds beautiful. Yeah. That's cool. Like, I like it because I'm big into helping the community too, right? Teaching the kids. Like earlier when she had said, imagine someone taught me when I was 8, right? And what I'd be doing. So I kind of had that same experience just with the school I went to, right? I was always a computer guy, and my sister was like, well, go to this school, right? And I wanted to go to ECPI, and I went to TCC first and didn't like it. And then my mom was like, try the military, and I tried that, right? But then I ended up back at ECPI, and I was like, imagine I went there first, right? And so I kind of have that same aptitude to teach kids whatever their passion is early, right? Go there, right? People are going to tell you other things. People are going to want to show you other things. That's cool. That's good. But go where what you like. So that's my takeaway from this. Like, I'm in her vein, kind of like, I'm doing what I like to do, and I'm teaching the youth to do what they like to do, even if it's what I like to do too. So
yeah. No, that's fantastic. And by you doing that, you're giving them permission to be an individual, but you're giving them permission to be an individual without having to take anybody else out. You know what I mean? Like, imagine when you can feel empowered to make a decision yourself, but you don't have to be belittle or take anyone else down in order for you to achieve that decision. And a lot of times as creative, that's where the competition and all those types of things come, because as soon as someone does something else, we feel as if
they're taking something
we're missing out from something. But the reality is that if we're having the conversation that they have a world of opportunity, then you can't possibly be missing out on something because somebody else is doing something, because you still have a whole world over here.
That is the
you shine and I shine.
Right.
We got to change the narrative.
Yeah. Oh, for real. I feel like that way of thinking is ingrained in a lot of us, like to think in lack, like there's a finite amount of resources or opportunity, and if somebody else is getting it, that means I'm missing out on it. But I think we need to flip that script, like you said, in abundance. This person may be doing great, they may be growing or whatever the case have you. That has nothing to do with you. You can still do what you got to do. And showing that gratitude, like being happy for somebody and showing gratitude for somebody else's success, actually could come back to you. You know what I'm saying?
It does a whole lot for you.
Right, it does.
1,000%.
Donations. Can people donate to these programs? So for the Studio F, is there like you have a donation portal or some way, if somebody wants to be involved or help out, they can donate either time, money, or anything? Clothes?
Absolutely. And I was going to say we need all the things. So they can go to studiofshowroom.com for Studio F. And then if they're wanting to help out on the artistic side, bailafuzion.com for Baila Fuzion. And then on the fashion side, marquitabianca.com for all that good stuff.
Dope.
And then all the social medias are the same name.
Right. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Yep. You definitely busy. I've been watching. I see.
Abundant mindset. Yeah.
Definitely,
you have to. Dope. I have a really good support system, so I'm blessed with that, and I have a wonderful boyfriend who's able to travel with me, which is awesome. So I can be away, but he can be away with me, and vice versa.
That's dope. Too. I remember Batman with the promoter. He's super dope. Super dope. Definitely connected in the community as well. Shout out to Batman. Does he still go by that?
He does. Okay, I don't think that he could ever not go by that.
Change his name right here.
I have I don't call him that.
Of course.
And I've never.
That would be weird.
Yeah. I mean, we were friends for maybe between 10 to over a decade before we started dating. And I never once called him Batman. So now I have to program my mind when I'm speaking to people and introducing him, because he's
Right.
always been Charles to me, but
Okay.
no one calls him Charles. So they're like, who are you talking about? And I'm like, no.
You see,
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was his name. So there you go. He's Batman to me. So
Telling the man, Govey out.
Yeah, no one knows the government, and his family doesn't even call him by his first name. They call him something completely different. So I'm just like, well, I'm just gonna have to be. I told him, I was like, I'm never calling you that. But that was before we started dating. I was like, I'm never calling you this, and he was like, you're the only person who doesn't call. I'll allow it. You know.
Yeah, but no, this is dope. This is definitely dope conversation. Thank you so much for meeting
Definitely
with us.
appreciate you coming through.
Yeah, I learned so much. Like, I knew you was about your business. I knew you was out here making moves, but I to be honest, I did not know it was to that extent. I know now. Thank you, Miss Marquita Bianca, figuring shit out, episode 40. This is gonna be a wrap.
In the books.
Follow her, marquitabianca.com, bailafuzion.com, studio F showroom.com. Cool.
You got it. Thank you guys. It was a good conversation with you.
Definitely.
These are my
Thank you.
favorite type
Appreciate you.
of things to do. Like, just I like talking with dope people and conversing and trading ideas and all that stuff.
Definitely dope. Maybe
thank you.
at some point, right? We want to because I live here in Chesapeake and he lives in Fredericksburg, Williamsburg.
Yeah, in between.
So right, so that's why we do the remote thing. But at some point, I don't know when in the future, hopefully we'll get a spot where it could be like in person. We'll hook up a space, make it local, make it super dope. But that's not here today. That's in the future. But
yeah. Well, if you two are ever planning where you have like a trip, or if he comes down here, you are very welcome to do a broadcast from our campus.
That will be dope.
Cool. Thanks
for
for the invite.
Yeah.
If you want to come in and film a couple of episodes to be able to, get you going and being in one spot, it's nothing but a message.
Yes, that'll be dope. We're probably gonna do that.
That's awesome.
We're gonna do that. Thank you so much. Well, you have a good rest of your day. We will keep you posted and keep being great.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you guys. I appreciate you. Have a good day.
All right.
You too.
Thanks.
Bye.